All right, all right. Welcome to another edition of No Pump Fake Sports. We're going to talk a little Clippers basketball. Basically, the Adam Silver in the NBA, they released the upcoming basketball schedule for 2021-22. And the first thing that jumped out at me was the Grammy road trip that the Clippers normally take annually in January. I think it starts around like January 19th to the 31st. It's like a 2 week stretch where the Clippers are on the road. I think the Lakers also on the road as well during that time because the Hollywood is basically holding the Grammy Awards at the Staples Center. So, the teams have to take road trips. But when you dig into the schedule, it's a little bit deeper than just that. Because what I found out was, man, the Clippers are basically playing from November to I think like March. They playing 5 weeks during that span of 5 games in 7 days. Man, this is horrific. I don't think any other team has the deck stacked against them like that. That's why I call this video "Are the Cards Stacked?" because it seems to me like the cards are basically stacked against the Clippers. And man, that stretch is just brutal, especially without Kawhi Leonard. It's brutal. So I was just looking at the schedule, man, and what I did was because I always kind of had that feeling that the NBA wanted the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers to meet in the championship this past season. But I think the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns kind of threw a monkey wrench into that program and offset it, man. So, you know what I mean? And the reason why we know that it did a lot of damage because if you go back and look at the championship series and look at the ratings, man, the ratings were horrible. They were just down, man. I don't know the percentage that they were down, but they were horrible. And I don't believe the NBA wants that to happen again. They make a lot of their money off the sponsors, and nobody was watching the finals. People didn't really care. Once the Lakers got knocked out in the first round, and then Brooklyn got knocked out in the and I think it was the third round against the Milwaukee Bucks, or maybe it was the second round. The Milwaukee Bucks, they got knocked out. The Brooklyn Nets. It was all downhill from there because on the East Coast, what you were left with, I think, was the Atlanta Hawks, and on the West Coast, in the Western Conference, you had the Clippers playing against the Suns in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think the NBA would have mind the Clippers making it because it would have been like the first time in franchise history that they got to the championship series, and I think they would have did well for ratings because everybody would have been curious. Can the Clippers finally get it done? Can they knock this curse off, off their backs, so to speak? And so I don't think they would have did that bad in terms of ratings if the Clippers would have made it. But once the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks got to the championship, I don't believe anybody was really interested in the outcome of that series. It was like whatever, you know what I mean? But so I was just looking at the schedule, man, and I started to dig into the schedule a little bit. And man, what I found out was the first 15 games of the season for the Los Angeles Lakers, they playing 12 of the first 15 games at home. I was like, wow, they start the game off, the season off with 15 straight games and 12 of them are at home. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And not only that, if you look at the first half of the season and you look at the Lakers schedule, they playing 26 of the first 41 games at the Staples Center. If that's not stacked in their favor, I don't know what is. It's just ridiculous, man. It seems like they lining it up for the Lakers and the Nets to make it to the championship. And the reason I believe that is because I went one step further. I looked at the actual odds, and the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets have a 3-1 odds to make it to the championship. Everybody else is like 9-1. Clippers are 16-1. The Warriors are like 12-1 or something like that. Don't quote me on the other ones because I was primarily looking at the Lakers, Brooklyn, and the Clippers. But I mean, it's a big disparity for the other teams compared to the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. It's just ridiculous. It's almost like they line it up for those two teams, man, to play in the championship because of I guess, the ratings, the advertisers. They want to show their products in front of a lot of people, and ratings basically reflect that. So, man, it's just a shame, man. Let these guys handle their business on the court and let the chips fall where they may. I know it's a business, man, but don't always align it for the Cinderella team. You guys is the NBA's team that they love the most, the Lakers, and anything out of New York and probably Boston. They want to see those teams make it, man. But it's like, man, it just seems unfair to me, So I was just paying attention to that, man, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I shake my head sometimes because it just, I don't want to think like nothing is wrong with the NBA because, I love this sport and, I just want it to be, fair, man. But don't align it to where it's just like set up for certain teams to win it. But yeah, that's what I noticed when I looked at the schedule. But, with that being said, I think PG just going to have to, man, show up and show out. I think the Clippers have a very, very good team, and they showed in the playoffs last year, even when Kawhi went down, that they were able to compete with the top-tier teams, you know what I mean? Because everybody thought, the Phoenix Suns was the best in the West once the Lakers went out. And the Clippers were able to handle them. They gave them all they can handle. If it wasn't for a call here or a call there, the Clippers could have actually been in the championship playing the Bucks themselves. So, man, I don't know, man. I think the Clippers have a good team. They added Eric Bledsoe back. Terrence Mann is starting to emerge as one of the young talents in the league. Luke Kennard, man, he went off in the playoffs, man. He hit some crucial three-point shots, you know what I mean, to contribute in some very, very good wins. I think he's still a liability on defense. But overall, I think the Clippers have they don't have what everybody looking for, the big three. They have a big two and then a lot of solid players. Everybody else have a big two or a big three and then a bunch of others. The Clippers have a full team from top to bottom. And even without Kawhi, they still have a full team because I think the emergence of Terrence Mann, you play him at the two-guard spot, and I think he's going to do well this season. He's gaining that confidence. He's starting to play with a swagger. I think he don't believe, he don't think of himself as a rookie anymore. So, you're going to see him take a step forward. Let's hope guys like Luke Kennard could actually step up. And we traded Patrick Beverley and Rondo for Eric Bledsoe. Let's hope Eric Bledsoe comes back to the Clippers and he feels rejuvenated. Because I think at this point in their career, I think Eric Bledsoe is still a little better than Patrick Beverley and Rondo, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think he can create, as far as attacking the basket. Man, he goes to the rim. He goes to that cup hard. He's hardcore when he slashes to the basket. I think he shoots a little better than Beverley and Rondo. Beverley, of course, he's known for his defense. If you had to rate on a scale from 1 to 10, if you had Beverley at a 10, I think Eric Bledsoe would be at an 8. So I don't think he's that far off. We got Reggie Jackson back. He re-signed for 2 years, $22 million. We re-signed Nicholas Batum again. And I think the gang is back. We're just missing Kawhi. It's a little Question mark as far as will Kawhi be back before the season ends, or will he come back for the playoffs? But it still remains to be seen. So we have to just look at the season like, Kawhi's not going to be there. So you have to do the best you can. If I had to, if I had my way, I think I would start Eric Bledsoe and Terrence Mann at the point guard and two guard position, and I would bring Reggie Jackson off the bench in the same role that we had Lou Will in, and let Reggie do his thing right there. And then when Terrence Mann get a little tired, need a blow, bring in Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, like I said, is a liability on defense. But what I think is, if you play Luke Kennard against everybody's second unit, he will excel. Because I think he's good enough to kind of guard like people's second unit, and then he's an elite scorer on offense. So we don't lose anything when you bring him in off the bench. So I think we still have a good shot. But I just want to tap in, man, and point out the schedules, man, and the way they look. It looks favorable for the Nets and the Lakers, man. But that's really all I have for today. You guys can leave in the comment section and tell me if you agree or disagree. I would like to hear from you about the scheduling. And, hopefully we can still excel during the season, man, even without Kawhi. But like I said, that's all I have. You guys can hit that like button, the subscribe button, the bell icon so you can get the notifications when I drop my next video. And that's all I have. I'm out. Peace.